Today we're going to make this CSGO butterfly knife in Blender. Now guys, just a little heads up. If you are a beginner to Blender, you might find that I'm using a lot of techniques in this video which are new to you. So you might want to slow this video down and repeat a couple of segments just so you can keep up a little bit better. But if you want to learn more about the tools and techniques which you're going to see me use in this video, I explained every single one of them in depth in my Blender Masterclass course. So you can check that out. There's a link for that in the description. And now let's get started with the tutorial. So the very first thing we have to do is get a couple of reference images. We hit Google Images, we type in CSGO butterfly knife. We need something that serves as a background reference image. So I'm going to add a blueprint to the search, and I want to get something like this right here. This seems to be a pretty good reference, so I'm just quickly going to save this to my computer. Then once I save that, I'm going to go back to just searching for pictures of this butterfly knife. So for example, I very much like this picture right here because it's very high resolution and we can clearly see some of the surfaces on the blade, which will help us model them because of the shading we have here. So I'm going to pull up my PureRef, copy this image and just paste it into PureRef. Maybe we want to get a couple more images, but most of them are pretty shitty, and I don't think we really even need many more pictures because they're all pretty much the same thing anyway. So that's enough. Let's quit wasting time on the reference images. Let's jump into Blender and get started. Now in Blender, we have to load up a background reference image. So Shift A, image reference, load up the picture which we downloaded at first. And this is going to be our background image. We're just going to drop it down a little bit. I want to start by creating this surface on the side of the blade first. That's the one that has this little line carved into it. And the reason I'm going to start with that is because we need our geometry arranged in a specific way to create this line. So I'm going to start by adding a mesh plane. I'm going to subdivide that plane 2 times. So I want to have 3 cuts here. And I'm going to use these 2 little squares in the middle to create my first circle there, loop tool circle. This is what we're going to use to create the first part of this cut. Then we can take this edge segment in the middle, we're going to tear it with V, and now we can select this lower surface and bring it all the way down to the other side where we have the other side of this cut. So something like this should do it. Now for the sake of geometric consistency, I want to have all the edges between these 2 segments here equally long as the edges on the sides over here. Well, maybe we don't have to make them exactly equally long, so I'm just going to add a bunch of loop cuts until they're roughly the same length. And then we can use those vertices to shape out this curve on the side of the blade, which should be pretty easy. Basically, we just need to place the first vertex onto the line. We need to place the last vertex onto the line, and maybe 2 or 3 more vertices from the middle we want to place on the line as well. So we're going to do something like this here and select all the vertices which we pushed out, select the first and the last vertex, and we're going to press W loop tools curve. As you can see, that creates a curve from these edges which runs through all the vertices which we selected. Maybe that's not the best idea because in this case I think this curve kind of bends in ways that I don't really like too much, so I'm going to delete all these vertices and instead I'm going to click down here. I'm going to add a new plane to the bottom, collapse edges and faces. That turns everything into one vertex, and we want a very low poly shape here with a subdivision surface modifier, and we're going to use that to trace this line here. So we want to bring this all the way to the top, to the far end of the curve, let's say around here somewhere, or well, based on the reference image here, this surface ends around here, which in the background reference should be somewhere around here, I would say. So I think our shape is supposed to look something roughly like this. Now the problem is that currently this curve here is very inconsistent, so if we apply our subdivision surface modifier, you're going to see that our geometry is very dense up here and not so dense down here. So first of all, we're going to go W loop tool space. Now they should all be equally long, but we also have to make sure that these vertices match the vertices we have over here. So I think it's pretty safe to say we can subdivide this whole thing one more time, and then let's see how many edges we got on the outer part. If we activate a little statistics over here in the corner, you can see we got 42 edges selected, and on this side we have 35 edges. So we're definitely going to have to dissolve some of these vertices. I'm just going to randomly select a couple of vertices like this all over the entire curve and press X dissolve vertices. Now again, W loop tool space. We dissolve a few too many, so I'm going to undo that and deselect a couple of these vertices and do the same thing one more time until we get a good match. So right now, what do we got? Roughly 35 edges out here, and we have another 35 here, so that's pretty good. We just have to kind of slide this geometry until we have these vertices matching perfectly. So I'm just going to bring this vertex a little bit closer so I can connect it to this one. Bring me over to the last one where I have 35 edges, loop tool space, and then we also have to do loop tool space on the other segments here just to make sure we don't have any big gaps in our edge lengths. And now we join these 2 objects together and we can fill this geometry. So we just spam F until we get all the way to the end. Then I'll place my cursor over here, set the pivot point to 3D cursor, take this edge segment, Shift D, right click, scale to 0 on the X so we can connect this with this corner. We fill this here, add 3 loop cuts, and now we should be able to do a grid fill to fill this surface in. So we go up here to face grid fill, and over here at the top we still got some work to do, so we can't do that just yet. First of all, we have to extrude another segment over here on the side. We're going to take some edges from the side like this and separate them by selection, and at the top I'll select this vertex, activate my proportional editing, set it to sharp, and we push that little fucker outwards until we can align this with the curve which we have in a reference image. Now we're going to have to also push this outwards outwards with our smooth proportional editing a little bit. Or better yet, we can take this whole thing and do loop tools relax a couple of times if we set it to linear and set it to 25, and shift R to repeat that a couple of times. That gets us a little bit closer to the shape that we want to have here. So it's going to be something like this, and we can join these back together, but we have to be very careful with how we're going to arrange our geometry up here. So for example, over here in the corner, I want to have a little quad like this, and I have to run this quad along the side here and make sure it connects into this geometry here. Now at the base, I can very easily just align my vertices with the vertices of the curve that we just created. So I just use my 3D cursor to snap those together. And as you can see, as we start going outwards, we use the geometry from the inside to create that curved shape. And as we go higher up, we get more space. Well, probably you know what else we can do. We can just select the next one, fill this over here with F, and then just slide all this outwards to connect everything. And it kind of bothers me that we're getting all these super long faces here. So I'm thinking maybe I can just merge a triangle into the side. So for example, if we duplicate this segment and then we delete these faces here, I'm thinking we can extrude a vertex up to here. We can add a couple of loop cuts to fill the rest of the geometry on the inside. And now maybe we can make a little triangle over here at the end, which we're going to turn into a quad. So we keep filling this in. Eventually we get to around here somewhere where we can fill this. And I guess we can push this outwards a little bit more because we definitely want another loop cut here to get rid of this little triangle. And then we take the rest of this geometry, we align it with this vertex. We probably need some more geometry on the outside so we can connect all this. And at some point we have to start taking this geometry outwards and basically do the same thing on the other side that we did at the bottom. So now once we got that done, now we can start merging this curve with this one up here. Basically we have to continue the trajectory of this curve from the bottom, and we have to find a point where that curve can merge with this one up here. So I'm going to create a new curve up here from the geometry of the one that I have down below. That'll probably look something like this. And now to successfully merge it with the next one on the other side, I'm thinking I can just place my cursor somewhere around here, and I'll take this curve and scale it up on the x-axis until we get a point up here where these two can merge correctly. Then we just use our split edges and faces tool. That allows us to create a new vertex at the tip, and then we just have to make sure we have the same number of edges on both sides. By the way, we probably want to relax this whole section over here one more time. So over here on this side we have 12 edges, and over here on the other side we only have 9. So that means we're going to go ahead and add 3 more loop cuts here. W loop tool space, W loop tools relax, and just like that we got 12 edges here. Now let's do a little triangle here, turn that into a quad. At the top we add 2 new quads. Below that we connect this, we loop cut, we add 2 new quads right here. The only problem is we have to turn this into 5 edges as we have down here at the bottom. Well, I'm thinking we can probably merge this here with another triangle. So if we just fill that, we make a new little bevel here. Give me a new triangle here, fill the rest of this with quads. We can probably get away with another loop cut over here, although that's probably gonna fuck up our loop flow pretty bad, but who cares right now. And now we take this thing at the top, we extrude this, this, and this, and we take this, we inset with I, and we press B to disable boundary. And well, as you can see, that gives us 4 edges at the bottom of this little shape. And since we got 4 edges at the top, we got 10 edges on the side here, another 10 edges here, and 4 edges at the bottom. I hope we can do another grid fill right here. So we're gonna separate this frame by selection, selected with the corner being the active element, face, grid fill, and Blender knows exactly what we want in this situation. So there we go, we got a beautiful surface right now to begin with. Now here's where things get a little bit more complicated. We have to take this curve on the outside, we have to align it with the curve in the reference image, which is different to what I said before, but now I changed my mind because we have to have this curve follow this line here and then have this curve merge into that curve to make it so that these two curves merge into one curve, which then continues on to the end of the knife. So basically we're going to take this curve from the left, we're going to scale it down on the X to around here somewhere, so that when we place the cursor here and we extrude this, it follows along and it stays on the outside. And that way when we extrude this out and we extrude another one, we can create a bevel over here, and that will sort of continue that curve so it follows this line right here. Which means we also have to take this geometry and take this curve and scale it down and basically shift everything to the left a little bit. And most importantly, we have to take this curve from the right side and we have to scale it up on the x-axis to somewhere around this size. And we probably even want to delete some geometry from the front over here so that we would be able to continue this curve a little bit further and have it merge into this one. So now to do that, again, we're going to take this vertex, extrude it out, extrude another vertex, then let's do that bevel thing that I mentioned a second ago. And then we can take this vertex here, extrude it a couple more times until we get to a point where we can merge it into here. So maybe we also extrude it one more time just so we have a nice clean connection here. And then we have to figure out a way to fill this one more time. So we want to start with a triangle here, turn it into a quad. We're basically going to do the same thing we did before already. Or better yet, we fill this with 2 new quads over here on the top. And then we take those 2 quads and we inset them. Well, maybe not, because it looks like we still have a pretty sharp point over here. So I'm going to delete this edge, extrude it one more time, and then connect it over here. Then we have one little quad over here. We turn that into 2 quads right here on the next section. And then that next section section we can turn into 4 quads by once again extruding this and this. We inset this, and then we have 4 edges over here which we can connect with the next 4 edges over here on the next section, and one more time to complete the shape here. Of course, we got to use our loop tools to redistribute some of this geometry so it's not so crooked, so loop tool space, and now we have a pretty decent curve here which we can use to extrude the actual blade. The only thing that bothers me right now is that this curve is not really smooth. It kind of gets a little bit tighter over here, so we're definitely going to have to spend some more time moving this geometry around until we get a good fit, because as you can see, when we take this curve and we extrude it out, it's clearly a little bit tighter on this part here, which is not ideal. But let's see what happens if we try extruding this. So basically we have to go to top view and extrude this out like so. We're going to use our loop tools relax tool to straighten this out a little bit so we can try and align it with this curve on the outside of the knife, and then we just place that over the reference image like this. And at the top here we're going to use our 3D cursor, so we want this to be the active element. We set the pivot point to active element, snap selection to cursor, keep offset, and well, the only thing that's bothering me now is that the curve is not aligned with the reference down here at the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe we can take this whole thing, or at least the curve on the outside, we separate it by selection, and we just use a little bit of proportional editing to change the shape. So with proportional editing we just move some of this geometry inwards a little bit more, and that should get us to where we want to be. And then we merge these curves back together. We're going to use our bridge edge loops tool to connect all these edges out here. So W bridge edge loops, it should look like this, but the problem is that this whole curve is supposed to be a little bit lower than the rest, so it's supposed to be a little bit lower down like this. So if we just lower everything down, I think we take this vertex and the last one over here on this little surface at the top. Well, we want to select everything in between and go W loop tools G stretch, but we lock the X and the Y, so it only affects the Z axis of these vertices, and that way they don't change their shape when we look at them from top view. They just start to gradually descend downwards. And then back here I'm thinking probably we can do something like this. You can see we have a little bit of a step here, so probably we can take this entire half of the curve and just scale it inwards on the Y axis, for example, and I think that gives us the shape that we're going for if we just scale it down on the Z axis a little bit. So that's looking pretty good right now. Then let's move on to the other side, which is the main blade. We can just use this geometry from the left side, or maybe we should just duplicate it, push it out, and use our proportional editing. If we separate this by selection, with proportional editing we align this geometry to the geometry in the reference image. So at the top here we probably want to use the sharp proportional editing to push all this inwards, and as you can see we can nail that shape down pretty good. Once we've done that, we join these two objects back together. We're going to take these two edge segments here, W bridge edge loops to connect them, and just another little triangle on top. And after that we once again take all this geometry and we scale it to 0 with the 3D cursor placed at the tip of the blade. So we end up with something that looks like this. I think it's looking pretty good so far. Now it seems to me that at the back of this knife we're supposed to have a thicker surface, so I'm thinking we can just take all this geometry from here, extrude it down, scale it to 0. I think we even need to have a little bit of thickness on this back edge over here. It's not supposed to be completely sharp, so we can even extrude that down a little bit and align it with this surface in the back. We fill this here with a quad. We just have to take this surface and make it completely sharp towards the end, because well, we have to have this vertex at the bottom so that this knife can stay straight, because well, we have to take this entire surface and make sure it's completely straight, which means once again probably we want to use that G stretch thing where we lock the other axes. So loop tools G stretch, lock X and Y, and now I think we can get that to look pretty nice and clean. Let's take this surface over here where we said we want to have that ridge shape. We're going to inset that a little bit to get the right thickness, and then extrude it downwards. Take this edge segment at the bottom, we're going to bevel it with 2 segments, so we want to take it all the way. So we want to have something that looks roughly like this. Slide the edge segment from the top all the way to the top, then the edge segment from the inside all the way to the inside, and just get rid of these diagonal edges which form triangles over here. So we're going to dissolve those so that we get little quads here. Back here at the base of the blade we have this little dent, so we can slide this vertex inwards, slide this one downwards a little bit, and then join these two with J, get rid of this one. That gives us that little dent, and then we have to extrude this a little bit further out, and given that this surface is a little bit higher than the vertices down here, we have to extrude this and align it on the X. This is going to create a triangle for now, and we should use this edge segment here to create the rest of the blade which we have down here. This is pretty easy stuff because it's a completely flat surface, so I think we should just do it as a little bit of a time lapse. As you can see, there aren't really any features here apart from a couple of circles, and to create those circles we're just going to use the geometry which we extruded, inset that, turn it into a little circle with our loop tools, get rid of it to make a little circular hole, and there you go. I just want to make sure that my edges are flowing correctly, so I'm taking my time with this thing. But basically the reason I'm doing this as a time lapse is because if I talk about all this stuff for 30 minutes, the video is going to be 7 years long. But if you just see my final result, and if you really want to recreate this, you can just pause the video where I show you the geometry, and you can just copy that geometry again by manually placing the vertices the same way that I'm arranging them. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the principles that I'm using here to decide how I'm going to arrange my geometry, I explain that in my free topology guide, which is is also down in the description. It's completely free and it talks about all the basic topology principles which you have to be familiar with if you want to model with clean topology. So there we go. I think this turned out pretty nice. Now once we have that, we can move over to making the handles. Alright, so let's talk about the handles now. The handles, I was initially planning to walk you through this process and explain everything step by step the same way I did at the beginning of the video or the first part of the video, but I realized this is once again going to take an extremely long fucking time, and most of it is just going to be tedious and boring, moving vertices around manually and just boring shit like that. I thought it would be a very quick process because it looks like a pretty simple shape, but it wasn't really that simple at all. So I ended up watching a movie on the side. I finished like half of Heat while modeling this object. I think it took me like an hour and a half or something like that to finish this shape. So I figured if it's a time lapse, you guys can just kind of see what I'm doing. You can see the way things are being arranged here. You can see how the methods that I'm using. And once again, it's pretty much all the same shit as I was using before. So I didn't really use any techniques different from the ones that I used on making the base of the blade or anything like that. So I think you guys should have a pretty good idea of how this was done. My problem is that I'm also kind of retarded, so I take topology super seriously in times when I probably shouldn't. So I end up spending a lot of time on something just because I want to create something with quads only or with good topology flow just because of general principle, when really I could have done something much quicker without worrying about that and it would have looked just fine. For example, this screw that we're making right now, this little star shit in the middle, I wanted to make this with perfect quads only topology, no twisted faces, nothing like that. So I probably spent like 25 minutes making this fucking thing alone. Even though it's such a tiny detail, we probably could have just used a Boolean modifier, but on principle, I guess it's just because I'm trying to film this, so I'm trying to show off to you guys that are watching me. I'm trying to flex by how tedious I am and how much effort I invest into making these little details. That's why it takes so much time to do it correctly, but whatever, it ended up looking pretty nice. So here is the final result. You can see what the knife looks like. Now guys, if you feel like I missed something important, just let me know down in the comments and I can make another video to talk about that. You can also join my Discord server down below where you can ask me a question. I'm always looking for new video ideas, so if you guys want to ask me something, if you want to recommend something for the next video, just let me know down there. And also make sure to check out my Blender Masterclass guide if you want to learn a bunch of other tips and tricks about modeling in Blender. I got like a million things broken down in there. And also check out my Blender Pro Tips ebook, which is basically the same thing, just a billion different Blender tips, except it is in written format. So if you prefer to take your time, if you prefer to read through a document over a video course, then maybe that's better for you. And also check out my free topology guide, which is completely free and it's just a little short guide about how topology is supposed to work in Blender. That's it. Like the video, subscribe to the fucking channel, let me know down below what you want to see next, and I will see you in the next one.